Hello, welcome back to All For United WFC. Finally, it's been such a long time since we've done a fan preview. Well, it feels like a long time anyway, obviously since May, since we've done a fan preview where we've got some opposition fans with us to talk all about the upcoming game. And what better game to start with than Aston Villa away at Villa Park, which is with a sold-out away and from a United point of view as well. So that's good to see. We're going to get into all that. Obviously, we're going to start with a transfer window, but obviously going to talk about the game, a little bit on last season. Last season's away trip was not good for my heart rate, so we're getting into all that as well. And yeah, just lots to dive into. If you're new to the channel, you've probably not seen a fan preview before. The people in the comments I can see, you've probably seen a fan preview before, so you know roughly how these things work. So yeah, get all your comments in over the next kind of hour or so, and we'll just see where the conversation takes us. But firstly, Freya, I'll throw it over to you first. There was too many like F's, F's and THs in that then. The transfer window. Obviously, Aston Villa is a team that pretty much everyone's talking about as having one of the most successful windows. Obviously, Hansen came in, obviously the goalkeeper as well. A few other good forwards that you've brought in as well. How would you kind of assess your window? Are you more confident now because you've made a lot of signings?
We have, yeah. And I think every time someone else was announced, we were like, really? Oh, brilliant. Because if nothing else, it shows like the magic of Carla Ward. And I think people are really starting to see Villa as a threat now. Whereas before we were kind of, and Lindsay will probably agree, we were kind of mid-table, we were doing all right. But now it just shows we're getting the names in, we're getting the quality, we're getting the depth of squad. It's so nice to see so many players actually in the team, which is quite nice. I think, at one point last season, we had 3 people on the bench, one of them being an elite goalkeeper. So to just see the quality coming in is really exciting and loads of people are talking about Villa, saying, we can push for maybe Champions League next year. And of course, that'll be brilliant. But as Carla Ward said, we got 5th. Getting 5th again is still progress because it shows consistency.
Yeah, I definitely want to come back to kind of expectations, things like that towards the end. That is one of my questions off the list there. But I mean, Lindsay, do you kind of echo what Freya was saying now on the transfer window?
Yeah, and I think we've really just solidified our foundations of what we built last year, and if we can achieve the same this season, I think we'll all be really happy. Yes, we want more, but we have to be realistic. And we were realistic last season, and we said sort of middle table, and we got 5th. So if we go for 5th as a positive, and anything better is even better, then not to be negative, but I just think that'd be really, really good, really cool. And I'd love to see us get Champions League qualification.
It's going to be a tough ask. When we did the preview show yesterday, obviously that Nancy and Emily, Rob and Meg were on, we were kind of talking about this, and Villa were definitely flirting around that kind of 4th spot with, somebody in the comments had United down in 6th, which was just craziness. But yeah, we immediately shot that one down because we're not having that on this channel. But obviously, Barry, you spoke over the summer about Aston Villa in terms of that they've obviously had a good window. How are you kind of assessing them as a team this year? Obviously, we struggled there last year, obviously away from home, and as other teams did as well. They weren't an easy side to beat last year. So how are you kind of looking at them now? Obviously, superb goalkeeper they've got in Van Domselaar in goal. Obviously, Kirsty Hansen, a player that we know well. Ellyse Perry as well. Obviously, Adrian Leon. I can't remember for life of me. Lucy Parker. There's just so many good players that Villa have brought in to add to an already good squad they had, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Aston Villa, they're a good team, and it's hard to dislike them. So, hence why we let people like this come on and talk as they do about them. I think it might be a bit easier to dislike them with the number of our players that they've taken. So that'll be interesting to see how we get on with that. They've made really, really good, I think, shrewd signings as well. It's also not just about, I keep umming, and I'm trying not to. It's a conscious effort now. I'm trying not to but I'm umming a lot, and I don't know why, so slap me if I do that. But obviously, you've got Maz Pacheco, which I know you love. You're a big fan of Maz. You would quite like for her to be in our squad, but she's not. So there. Simone McGill, she's another one that came back last season, but was obviously injured for a long time. So it'll be interesting to see how she gets on. I think you've got quite a young player here, and I think I'm going to butcher the name, but I'm going to give it a go. It was Laura Blindkilde Brown. Is that right?
Yeah.
We love her.
Right?
Well done.
Yes. But she was the young player of the year. So potentially
phenomenal young player, yeah. Lots of potential
to go as well. You've got Darley and Daly, of course, 22 league goals in 22 league games, which is quite tidy. We'd have loved a striker like that, wouldn't we? Jordan Nobbs, would you believe? Fantastic player there as well. Anna Patton from Arsenal, Lucy Parker from West Ham. And that's before you even get to the likes of Alicia Lehman, Ebony Salmon coming in, and Domsalar, which, let's be honest, that's just crazy signing, that one. If she plays as well for you guys as she did for the Netherlands, she's going to be amazing. Kirsty Hansen, 7 goals, 9 assists last season, had an absolute blinder. Lucy Staniforth, I mean, every transfer window has its moments. And Adriana Leon as well. With Aston, I'm sorry, Lucy, I'm sorry. With Adriana Leon as well. I'll be intrigued to see how she fits in your squad, if I'm brutally honest. That's going to be an interesting one, seeing how she gets on. But I certainly think that with Leon coming to play against United for the first game, it's one of those horrible ones. We had a player back at Stevenage who's left, and we played them again recently, and they didn't stop running. It's like they've got something to prove when it's against an old team like that, where it hasn't quite worked out. So who knows? I have a horrible feeling that she might pop up somewhere where we don't want her to pop up. My only hope is that Maya Letitia pops up at the same time and just sort of wipes her out so she can't get the shot away. But we've got a right to be worried, I think, about Aston Villa. And it's interesting because listening to Lindsay just there, she talks about Aston Villa potentially getting Champions League, and it would be nice to do that. And the crazy thing is that I'm not a million miles off of her train of thought. If this squad gels in the manner that it could, I think teams will have to be careful. And I love that. The fact that the WSL now is sort of shifting to the point where it's not just 3 clubs that have got a really good squad. There's more that are starting to get that depth, that it's being noticed from other places, other countries, other leagues, that actually there's more teams available. You don't just have to go to Chelsea and sit on their bench or their academy side just for the sake of being in the WSL and getting a pay packet and saying you won something. Actually, there are other clubs available. You can go and do that. So for me, Aston Villa are a big worry this season. It won't be easy. We shed 3-2 at their gaff last time. Just about got there thanks to Super Millie Turner. Smashed them at home though, 5-0. We do like a 5-0 against Aston Villa at home. So it might be trickier because we're away. But I think, yeah, they've got every right to be optimistic at the start of the season, as all football fans should, really. You've not played any football yet, and we're all on the same amount of points. So everybody should be dreaming of winning the league at this particular point, except maybe Leicester.
You mentioned, obviously, we're talking obviously about the transfer window, but you mentioned Pacheco as well. I'm pretty sure, didn't she sign a new contract over the summer as well? Or an extension or something like that?
I'm not sure. That one doesn't stand out. Lindsay, any ideas?
Did she or
I've
not?
got a feeling she might have done something, but I'm not 100% sure. I should know that.
Have I made that up on the spot? I'm going to have to double check this.
Let me check.
Were you crying a lot, Connor? Because if you were crying a lot this summer, then we know that she signed.
I just remember having a conversation with Nancy about it. I reckon I've either dreamed up a conversation. Well, not dreamed up because I'd like her at United, but I've either imagined up a conversation or... I
know, you're good. Yeah.
There we go.
Extended to 24-25. Yeah, we're good. We'll keep now for another couple of years.
So that's what I mean. I think when you're not just signing quality players, you're keeping hold of the quality players as well, and building on that squad. I don't fully believe Villa are Champions League side. Yeah, I still think that gap between, you saw how hard it took, or how many years it took, a couple of years for United to break into the top 3. I still think that gap is a little bit too much. And looking at Villa's squad, I think the 11 can compete. I think outside of that 11, barring maybe attack, I think there's a couple of question marks. I don't know. I don't watch Villa week in, week out, but I think there's maybe a couple of question marks in that midfield. It looks a little bit light to me. I think if Darley gets injured or somebody in that midfield gets injured, I don't feel there's the quality like the traditional top 4 have got to bring in. Obviously, we'll speak about her briefly because why not? She's on the thumbnail because obviously ex-United. Kirsty Hansen obviously made the move across. I'm pretty sure you're happy with that one. Freya, we'll start with yourself, but yeah, is probably the right move for all parties on that one.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the moment she signed, we're all absolutely buzzing. We all fell in love with her. The amount of Hansen shirts we've seen this season, getting ready for this league is amazing. And she just fits straight in, and she's been able to show her potential. And I think just by being able to have that freedom. And I think she said a couple of times, it was in our interview, I think she said, Carla believed in her, and just having that belief and that freedom and that expression to be herself. We've seen what she can do, and it's not just for Villa, it's for Scotland as well. And I was at that game against England, and I thought Scotland are going to score, and it's going to be Kirsty Hansen. And then, sure enough, yeah, she got there. And yeah, what a signing to be able to keep her. But like I think we said last time we were on, it's if she came back to United, what was her future going to look like? So yes, there was a draw of Champions League and things like that, but she deserves to be a starting 11 player. And with United, it wasn't that guaranteed, was it? Obviously, prove me wrong if you want to, but yeah, she just fits at Villa. So yeah, we're really lucky to have her.
I think that's if you saw me laughing at the start, I wasn't from what you were saying. I noticed Paul's comment here talking about obviously Evie Rabjohn saying that he couldn't find her on the Villa page, obviously because she joined United, and that seems like an age ago now. That was in it. That was last season was still going on when she signed for us. I think it was April.
Yeah, it seems like years ago, doesn't it?
Classed as a summer signing, I believe, but yeah. So obviously she came in. It'll be interesting to see how she plays for the rest of the season if she gets any minutes at all, because.
So much potential. We really hope she does get some minutes. So yeah, to get a first professional contract with yourselves is incredible. So yeah, really good talent you've got there. Gutted she went.
Just while we're on the Kirsty Hansen talk, sports pro question there, is Kirsty fit for the weekend? Obviously she had a little bit of a limp when she came off in that England-Scotland game. I think the only players, again, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure the only players that potentially are out, Pacheco might be missing due to illness, and there was somebody else. I can't remember.
Kenza hasn't been playing for France. She had something, a knee, leg, something. So she hasn't been fit. So she's a doubt, I think. But Kirsty Hansen, she, at the end of the Scotland match, she had an ice pack around her leg and she was walking. So she was okay-ish, but we haven't had anything confirmed, I don't think.
I hope that she's fit, because it would be...
well,
not if she scores against us, but it will be nice to actually enjoying football again. But Lindsay, again, for yourself, obviously Kirsty Hansen sign. I'm pretty sure you're relatively happy with that one.
Yeah, I'm really pleased. When I saw her play the first game of the season, I just fell in love with her, and you should never fall in love with a lone player. And unfortunately, I'm part of the announced Kirsty Hansen fan club, which I think it was someone called Chloe on Twitter was doing, announced muscles all the way through the summer until she signed. So big shout out to Chloe if I've got that right. Apologies if I haven't. But yeah, we were a big fan, and just pleased to have her in the team, what she brings. And when we played you last season and she wasn't playing, it just showed the quality dip of her not being there. So we really want her to be in the team, around the team, shining, and maybe it's a stepping stone for her to Champions League, or maybe not. But like Freya said, in the England match, she was brilliant, and I haven't seen Lucy Bronze that panicked and that stressed with a player or by a player and really pushed to that level until that match. So it just shows how amazing she is, and I'm just pleased that we've got her.
And obviously, Barry, if you said just look at the last word on the Hansen thing. Obviously, last season, as Lindsay just said there, she wasn't playing against us, obviously being on loan. This time, she likely will be. Are you a little bit worried on that front? Because obviously we know what she can do. We saw it last season on loan, but also in a United shirt as well, we've seen what she can do.
Well, it was interesting, wasn't it? Freya saying there she's seen all the Hansen shirts outside Aston Villa, but they've managed to do all this off of one song, which is really quite impressive. I don't think anyone can name another song from Hansen apart from Mbop. That's it. Game over. There's literally nothing else. She's quite a sad band to be named after, really. I think everyone on this channel knows how much I love Kirsty Hansen. You know, the first time I was on, as I said, we tried to do the hashtag Hansen in. Nobody was joining in with that with me, which was quite depressing. Just a solo voice out there in Twitter. But I'm used to being a solo voice on here now, especially being the one that said we were likely to challenge for the league and win it. And I was pretty close with my prediction there, whilst everyone else was laughing at me eating their Cocoa Pops. So I think for Kirsty, it's a tricky one. It's the right thing for her because she wasn't getting football at Man United and she was always overlooked. And given time, really just off the subs bench, and she wasn't being used potentially to her full ability. But it was difficult because there were players there that I think rightly were also picked ahead of her as well. There were times when she could have been given more chances, but did she always take them when she played? I'm not convinced that she did. Not always. And so as a result, that sort of inconsistency, and we've had this problem, like I've said, with that right wing slot specifically, it's just not being taken by anyone. Nobody's grabbed the ball by the horns and said, this is going to be my position and I'm going to own it. Kirsty Hansen obviously goes to Villa, and from what I'm aware of, she plays mainly on the left-hand side there. Well, Leah Galton's got that position. She's got it nailed down. You're going to prize that out of her cold, dead hands if you think you're getting Leah Galton out of the left wing slot. And I wouldn't argue with Leah Galton if she said, I'm playing left wing. All right, Leah, crack on, love. You go for it. So I don't think for 1 second that Kirsty really had that opportunity. So for me personally, I hope she does play in a way. Hello, bye, Lindsay. Sorry she didn't like it, obviously. But
Wi-Fi's playing up. She'll be back.
I'm used to people walking out of the show when I'm on here. So, but I think really for me, that's the big thing. I'd like Kirsty to play just because I think she'll get a good ovation as well, and it'll be good for her. But equally, I also quite enjoy the fact that she doesn't always play against us. Lastly, because of the loan rules and the fact that she wasn't allowed to play for us. So in a way, it would be mildly entertaining if she wasn't able to play against us again, and probably good for us because it's one less really good player that we've got to play against. So I wish her all the best. I think Kirsty was a lovely person. She was professional, always hardworking, never said a bad word about the club. So good luck to her. She can win every game in the league apart from this one.
I think that's literally what I was about to say. It's like we wanted to do well in every game apart from the 2 against us. And if obviously we'll be meeting any of the cup competitions as well. Because as you said, I think obviously some players leave and there's a bit of bad, I guess, blood with the club and with the fans and so on. But Kirsty was never one of them. I think, left on good terms. As I've said throughout the summer, it's the right move for all. United got something out of it. Villa have got a good player out of it, and Hansen gets to play more and enjoy a football. So it's a win for literally everybody, I think, on that deal. Obviously, there's a couple of talk about the injuries in the chat from a United point of view. To be honest, there's not much to report on that. Obviously, looking like Jade is in contention, apparently. So we'll see whether... I doubt she'd start, to be honest. I think he'll go safe. We'll come back to the line of prediction at the end. But, Jade is in contention. Mannion and obviously Watson are both out. And Mannion for about 6 to 8 weeks, apparently, which... she's always injured, that girl, isn't she?
Oh, look, has she? Just...
Especially, it was in training as well, so it's even just why, just can't stay fit, that one, which is a shame because I really like her, but that's what it is. Right, obviously we've mentioned a couple of the attackers, so I'll come to you for kind of your, I guess, key players that we should be watching out for as United. Obviously, everyone knows who obviously Rachel Daly is by now, or they should do. Obviously, we spoke about Hansen. Is there anyone else maybe that's going under the radar a bit that you think, from a Villa point of view, don't get the same recognition? Obviously, the goalkeeper is going to be exceptional signing throughout the season. But is there anyone else that you feel like is maybe not getting those plaudits that United should be looking for?
I think Simone McGill needs a lot more attention. Because she was out for a long time with injury, so she's technically coming back as like a new signing for us, which is really exciting. She's been brilliant for Northern Ireland, and just. Yeah, definitely want to watch for Simone McGill, definitely. I'm just having a look down who we've got. So obviously, Adriana Leon coming in. For Canada, for what I've seen, she's been really good internationally. And for the minutes that she did have for United, I thought she was really good. So hopefully, if she gels and she clicks and she finds her place, it'd be really interesting to see what she can do. Ebony Salmon was one that we didn't expect at all, her coming back in. And I was looking at some stats, and she had 10 goals and 30 appearances for Houston Dash. So she is scoring, of course, which is what we love. So it'd be really interesting to see how she makes that change, because obviously Rich came back from America and absolutely smashed it. So hopefully, and Lindsay, we were saying this, weren't we? Hopefully their link with Houston Dash together, they might create some magic up front. So yeah, we're just looking at the the team we've got, it's all really exciting, and what a fantastic place to be in. One more, Georgia Mullet, one of our young
That's who I was going to
players.
mention.
Yeah, she's just signed her first professional contract with us. Really exciting for the academy coming through. So yeah, lots and lots to watch.
I mean, Lindsay, anything to add on that one? Obviously, named a lot of players there. Is there anyone else?
Freya's hugging the limelight. She knows I've got a sore throat and I'm struggling with my voice, so I'm just grateful for her. But I would say Georgia Mullet is definitely one to watch, even if she doesn't get many minutes this season. I think next season, or these next 2 seasons, she's going to be another Laura Blunkelde Brown, just because of the way she's played. She's had senior minutes last season. She's been brilliant. She's absolutely smashing it. So I just think she's a name for the future. But I'm excited to see how Ebony Salmon fits into our team with the dynamic that we've got, and also Simone McGill coming back from injury. I just hope she can stay fit. She's amazing, and I look for. I mean, her and Rachel Daly last season, when they had minutes together, they were just like they clicked straight away. So I'm just hoping they can continue that this season.
Ebony Salmon was like a weird one because it kind of came out of nowhere. Literally, it was a random Friday. There was no rumours leading up to it. It was wasn't it like 11 o'clock at night on a random Friday? Just here's your signing. It was just there was no like hype or anything build up to it. But I love that. I wish United would do more of that, because obviously with United, about months sometimes in advance, and it's like
it was the transfer equivalent, the jump scare, wasn't it?
Pretty much. But I miss signings like that. This is a whole other conversation, but I've said this all summer. I kind of wish I didn't know in advance. And it's not just me. It's all over Twitter most of the time that you know so far in advance that by the time the announcement comes around, it's like, yeah, we know. Like, on to the next one. I want to know who the next one is. Like, yeah, it's a bit of a shame. So that Salmon one, it was really exciting. So it was like nobody reported it. Like, it was, so fair play to Villa. Kept that one very, very quiet, because that didn't leak at all, which is not very common in the.
To be fair, somebody told me. They said Ebony Salmon was going to Villa. I said, "Oh, that sounds fishy to me." I didn't believe it.
Very good. Very good.
I was wondering how long it would take you to get a fish pun in there. And 22 minutes. Someone can clip that for you. 22 minutes.
I'm really hoping she chips one in, because that'd be really good. It's like fish and chips then, isn't it? It'd be amazing. So I've got loads. There's loads in my locker, and I've had to find somewhere else to go, seeing as our Hermione Granger's not going to be playing for a bit. So I've got to go and think elsewhere. Very disappointed. That book's got to go back on the shelf.
I was going to say, if Mallard obviously starts for us, you're in for a field day with Animal. Wow. You are.
Can't wait. Chocolate bill.
But Dave did make this point on yesterday's show, actually, that all ex-United players have spread themselves around the WSL, kind of helping us to win the league. Obviously, little agents that we've got spread out. Obviously, we've got Arsenal and Brighton, obviously Villa, all these other teams that Spurs we've sent players to. Certainly got a lot of players out, that's for sure. On to the game itself then, Barry. How are you feeling about this one? Because obviously we need a very strong start, as I've put in the title, because our first 5 games are probably the trickiest I think we've ever had. Obviously with Villa, Arsenal literally less than a week later, about 5 days later, then the PSG game, obviously, which is massive. Leicester sandwiched in the middle, then PSG again, obviously away from home, and then Everton away, which is, we usually do all right there, to be fair, but I'll throw that in as a part of the first 6 fixtures. So how are you? Are you a little bit worried if maybe we don't get off to a strong start? Are you confident going into the weekend? What's your kind of general feeling, I guess, around the game on Sunday?
As we said last year, you have to start strong if you want to win this league. You know that Chelsea are going to be strong. You know that they're going to be pushing for it. And that's what we need to do. We need to be in a position where we are pushing Chelsea consistently for that title. 56 points. This is a thing. I mean, I've written loads of stuff down here, so I'm just going to throw these things out there, because you did a players we should watch out for Villa. Well, here's some points you should look out for us. No team had a better pass completion rate last season than Manchester United Football Club, with 83%. No team had a higher possession than the 62% average that we had over the course of last season in the WSL. Nobody, and this will shock a few people, because Katie Zellum was in midfield, and my goodness, can she not stop a ball? Nobody regained the football better than Manchester United. No other team managed that. We had the highest XG, but that's a load of rubbish, and nobody really cares about that. 10 matches unbeaten we went for. The last time we did that was in the championship season, so this was against a better calibre of team. 14 clean sheets with just 12 goals conceded. It was the best amount of clean sheets and the fewest goals conceded. And of course, 56 points, which was 9 better than our previous best in the 2021 season. These are some points that people need to look at, and remember that we are talking about a Manchester United squad that did blinking well last year and would be looking to do well again. So do we need to start strong? Of course we do. If we want to match those sorts of things, 56 points from 66 is pretty good going. It's not bad at all. That's only 10 points dropped. Good math, see? But how easy is it to get those? Like Chelsea were pushed. That was a record points tally for them as well to win the league. So when you've only got that amount of points available to drop, you've got to spread those out over the season. You can't be dropping them willy-nilly. But for me, I think it's one of those where you look both ways with it, because a poor result for us just underlines the fact that Aston Villa have got a squad that's going to be looking to try and do things this season. And for me, people like Man City, people like Arsenal will have to look over their shoulders and think, hang on a minute, have we got more teams coming at us? Because Arsenal sneaked it last season. You know, they beat Man City. That was all they needed to do. You've got to start beating Man City and Aston Villa as well to try and get into the top 3. And that's almost half the league at that point that you're up against. So, you know, I think it's going to be good for them if that happens. But my big hope, obviously, is that it doesn't. We absolutely need a strong start. You've got to get the points on the board as quickly as you possibly can. A loss against Aston Villa, taking you then into the Arsenal game, you lose both of those, that's 6 points gone already. And you're already in a tricky position. Would it be game over? Absolutely not. But it would certainly dampen the feeling around the club. I think what we had last season that was so good was it just continued. It grew. 6 points that were lost were obviously against Chelsea, which means 4 points were dropped just from a couple of silly draws. Everton, I think, springs to mind as one of the big ones, and I think Man City was the other one. So we've got to lose them against the bigger sides by losing them through draws, really. And I say that with the utmost respect to Aston Villa. We shouldn't be expecting to go to that game and lose. But you look at what they've done and how they've strengthened the side, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. So, you know, anything could happen here. Generally, the stats are in our favour, but that's not going to mean anything the second those 22 girls walk out on the pitch ready to play football, and nor should it. So it will really show who wants it, Connor. You know, we've been saying, will we miss Honor? Will we miss Lessie? Hopefully these players are going to come out and show the world what they've got. But if they don't, then yeah, it could be a different conversation next week.
I think that the reason I asked that question, because obviously there was some talk on last night's show that if United and Arsenal were thrown into this conversation, to be fair, that if they don't get off to strong starts, the manager's job is probably going to be looked at. Marc Skinner's put a lot of pressure on himself, to be fair, you know, and I think he's right too. I think what he said today is right. But he said that, you know, nothing less than a trophy is pretty much a failure, essentially, is what he's come out and said today. And if we're going to push on the league, as you just said there, I think if we go 6 behind from the first 2 games, and obviously we've got the Champions League game as well, and if we don't qualify, I still think we will, by the way, but if we don't, you know, our season right from the off is like, after the money we've spent, the highest spenders in WSL and all these kinds of things, I'm a little bit worried that, I don't know, you play the hand you're dealt with. I'm pretty confident we'll beat Villa. Arsenal maybe is going to be tougher than last season, just because
Who was having this conversation last night that Marc Skinner's going to all of a sudden be under pressure if we lose the first 2 games of the season? What?
And get knocked out of the Champions League.
Who said that? Oh, and knocked out of the Champions League.
Yeah.
I mean, that could happen. It's our first go in the Champions League. You know, PSG have done this. They've been on that merry-go-round. They've been in the merry-go-round of the Champions League for a long time. They're much more cultured at it than we are. I've still got a lot of optimism that we can do well in that. But, you know, again, you lose those first 3 fixtures, all it will do is just dampen the mood. That's all it really does. The fact is we've made the Champions League this season and we need to build on that. If we make it again next season, then that's positive. If we don't make it again next season, then all of a sudden you can start having that conversation. But I really don't, for the love of God, can we please not have another season where we're all of a sudden going to start jumping on Marc Skinner, because people jumped on him with everything that I've just read out. Better than any other season we've ever had. You can take your Casey Stoney, and I'm sorry, she's a lovely lady, I'm sure, and she's a great manager, but she can do one because Marc Skinner has actually proven he's better. With this football club, he's done better. So can people just stop with this idea that, you can be upset with him as much as you like and not enjoy the way that he does things, but you can't argue the fact that he has given Manchester United the best season that we have ever had. And beyond that, he deserves this season to have the opportunity to see what he can do again. And if we don't make it, then yeah, absolutely, people can have a conversation because that's football. But if you've just lost the first few games, it's not ideal. But we shouldn't be questioning Marc Skinner's position at the football club. He's earned more surely than 3 games at the next season before we start doing that. We learned nothing inside. A grip, Connor. Seriously, too much Brill cream in your hair. It's slipping about all over the place. Get a grip.
You'd hope so, but I don't know. I think when you look at the money spent and everything else, and like I said, he said it himself. That's not come from me. He's come out and said himself today that in his pre-match press conference that the aims for the season. So I think he's right to do it because we have spent the most money. We've got a brilliant squad, so I feel like we should be pushing on. So we shall see. So Freya, Lindsay, I'll come back to yourself, and from a Villa point of view, how are you feeling about this game? Obviously, we mentioned last season it was a pretty close one. I don't even know what the ground's called now. Is it the Bescott something? I don't know. The Bescott Poundland Arena, or not arena, stadium, or whatever it's called. Obviously, it was a pretty tight one there. Obviously, we mentioned the home one as well, but you did beat us, obviously, last season in the Conti Cup in the penalty shootout, obviously. There was that as well, albeit a very heavily rotated United side in that fixture. Yeah. So how are you feeling going into this one? Are you, I guess, confident? Are you looking to pick up a point, go for the win? What are your kind of aims, I guess, or hopes for this one?
I mean, the same as you. Like, we love to start strong as well. We've got the names through the door. Everyone seems really happy. Everyone seems hopefully rested enough to at least have some rotation in there. We know some of the girls have had, little to no rest after the World Cup. But I think the ethos around the club is just so strong at the minute that if nothing, we know it's going to be tight. We really do. Like Villa Park, that, all of those people in there is going to be brilliant. And, we'd love to win, but obviously a draw as well. We'll take the point because you guys are also a massive team with a really high quality squad. So if we can at least compete with you, then, we know we're doing the right thing. So yeah, obviously you want the win, but I think the draw would be a positive against you guys on Sunday.
I mean, Lindsay, how are you kind of feeling about it as well then? Because obviously we mentioned, well, I just said obviously last season as well. Obviously, we spoke about Villa at the start in terms of having higher I will come back to expectations in a second in terms of a separate question. But for this particular game, are you looking at United and maybe are you feeling, is this the right time to play United? Because there's a lot of obviously new faces come into the squad that maybe haven't had the time to gel yet. Obviously, we've had this international break in the middle of a pre-season as well. So is this maybe the best time, you think, to play us rather than 6 or 7 games in when these players have had a chance to bed in properly and to get fully firing?
I think for us with our team, last season we took the most points off the top 4 teams. I'm not sure it's the first time where a team that wasn't in the top 4 took points off the top 4 or the top 2. Back when there was just the 2 top teams. So we've got that to build on. And I think playing United, they've had such a exodus in the summer. Some of it's been dead wood that's needed to be moved along that wasn't good enough for you moving forward. And I'm saying that as a neutral rather than a Villa fan. But some of the players, they just weren't up to that standard that you were wanting of United players, especially with Champions League, wanted to be successful. So I can see like Skinner's thought process, but in doing that, you've got a lot of new faces and it's getting them to gel. Whereas with our new faces, they play together at West Ham, they play together at United, so they're going to hit the ground running. Some of these have played together at England as well, so they're all kind of a known quantity within reason. So I think a start against United is good for us because we know that you're not a pushover. I'm sure you'll take that as a compliment. But you'll be a good challenge for us to see how we can effectively use our new players, our new positions, and just go for it. And if we can get 3 points, fantastic. You don't go into a game of football going, oh, well, if we don't get beat 10-0, we're going, it's going to be fantastic. Villa are far better than that. So if they're going to go in for the win, they're going to be hungry for it. They're going to want it. And, if we come out with 1 point, then we won't be too discouraged, because as Barry said, with all those statistics of your play last season, if you continue to build on that, and you were second last season, we don't go to Chelsea going, oh, we're going to win 5-0. So why should we do that with you? But I think it's going to be a really tight game. Me and Freya were discussing this before we came on. We think it's going to be a tight game, might be a draw, but it'll be a draw where it'll be a fair result, and reflect the effort put in by both teams. But we would secretly like the win at Villa Park with 11,000 fans there, some from United and some from us. So yeah.
I don't think you're going to secretly like it. Surely that would be very outward. I'm sure. Hopefully, please God, don't do it secretly. But I just wanted to say, because I was just double checking a couple of things, and I just saw it actually. The 1st of October last year, we played Aston Villa, and that was in the Conti Cup, and we drew 1-1. And Ellerton missed at the last minute.
I like how you say we drew that game, not that we lost on penalties. Just
we did. And this is the other thing. We made the FA Cup final, Connor. The Conti Cup, we went out, but we didn't actually lose a game. It's only penalties. I know that it's a group competition. Generally, you wouldn't have penalties. You'd have just sat there and gone, that's a point. So, Durham got there 2 points. We went out by 1. So it's that little penalty shootout idea that the Conti Cup's got going on that makes the difference in those. If that had just been draws, I don't know whether we'd have still finished in second place like we did. But the point was, we were a point off of the top team that went through there. So we could have potentially got through in the Conti as well. We didn't actually lose in 90 minutes. It really wasn't. It wasn't extra time. So we did incredibly well there. So, and that was our second string team. It wasn't, the best of the best out there. We were putting out some of those ones that needed to play games. So, but yeah, just thought it was a little interesting stat that we drew 1-1, and I really hope that's not the case this year. Otherwise, history can just do one, because that's horrific. Also, by the way, I feel like we're on Britain's Got Talent. We've been judged. Finally, something different, something I can enjoy. Love it. Presumably, we're getting the golden buzzer and we're off to boot camp. Love it.
Need the confetti to come down now.
That's what I was waiting for. That there's nothing flashing, nothing's happening. I think I'm waiting for Ant and Deck, if I'm honest with you.
It's because It's because we've been nominated for the FCAs. That's what it is. Piers is coming in and see. I was thinking of that while I was thinking, what can I say back there? And common sense, I like it. There we go. That was in response to Lindsay and Freya talking, not me and Barry. I don't think.
No chance.
I was gonna say, I don't think it was us. Sporty, you are nicking my questions here. So I'm going to ask it because it is kind of what I was at, and it's kind of fits in, Barry, in terms of from a United point of view as well. Because I feel like, again, because of the transfer windows that both teams have had and the successful seasons that both teams had last year, Villa and United are the two teams where the expectation, it seems like it's gone up another level for this season. Obviously, United, the expectation now is to really push, to go for a trophy and to actually win one this season, and obviously the Champions League. For Villa, obviously, there's this talk of breaking the top 4 and maybe pushing the top 3 and so on. So, Freya, I'll come to you first on this one in terms of what you feel the expectation is for Villa this season, and do you feel that extra pressure now that teams aren't, or fans and so on, aren't just looking at Villa going, oh, they're maybe a team that we can beat, but they're a little bit of a threat. Now teams are, like we've said throughout this 40 minutes or so, this is a real tough game now. So do you feel that extra pressure? And I guess it's a two-part question: the expectation change, and also what deems a successful season for you guys.
I think it's more exciting than anything else because we know what team we've got. We know what Carla can do, and it's all about proving that again. It's about proving last season was not a fluke. It wasn't, we magic points from nowhere. It was, no, we're building something, and we're building that infrastructure, and we're building this team and this ethos, and we're getting squad depth that, like I said before, we've never had before. So I think Carla even said, we've never had this many players in the squad. So the fact that she's been able to do that business and that level of business has been incredible. And there's so much belief in the team. Obviously we know through social media, we've got incredible fan bases, and the Villa support has just absolutely skyrocketed. And I think it's great that even commentators and news outlets are actually starting to talk about Villa. because it usually would have been your Arsenals, your Chelseas, your Man Uniteds. But now there are articles about Villa, and there are articles mainly about Kirsty Hansen, which is great. But we're part of the conversation now, which is incredible. And I think building that and just showing that we are capable is phenomenal. And like I said, kind of, we finished 5th, brilliant, best ever finish. To do that again is showing sustainability and it's showing consistency. Obviously, we'd love better than that, but we know the quality of the competition is much higher. And it's not just a couple of clubs that are in it now. It literally could be anyone. And that's the most exciting part. Absolutely love it.
So, again, I wasn't laughing at you. This is Barry's fault this time.
What is this? What is this?
So that was, oh dear. So that was in response to this guy.
So some person comes up and goes, oi, oi, you go, all right, it's me club's camp. What's going on? Are you on EastEnders all of a sudden?
Yeah, so that is a guy. We've got our little pro clubs on EAFC 24, and he is one of them. He's a very good. He's our centre attacking midfielder of the squad. So we'll be back on that tonight. So we'll see how we go. Hopefully, it's a little bit better than last week. Got off to a shaky start. So that's what that was, and why I was laughing.
Well, now you've got me interested. Where do you play?
I'm the I don't even know what the Haley lad or the Casemiro type role. That's me.
Haley, that's high praise indeed. The Haley lad or the Casemiro. I feel like I need to see this. Anyway, sorry. Go on, Lindsay.
Maybe that's a new stream idea.
Maybe.
So if I know Emma's just put it in our chat. So if anyone's watching, maybe this is a stream idea. We'll start streaming the clubs. I don't think it's a good idea, but we'll see. But Lindsay, back over to yourself in terms of, I guess, fan expectation and what deems a success for you.
Well, for me, like Freya and like we've touched on before, I think if we can get 5th again, that would be absolutely fantastic for us. Yes, we are going to be pushing for 4th. Or even higher. I'm not going to say we're going to win this season. I will get shouted at by the Villa fans for not saying that, but I have to be realistic with what I'm saying. But I'd love for us to finish 3rd or 4th, but I'd take 5th again. I think the competitiveness in the league, if we look back over the years, there's always been 2 clubs that have run away with it, and then the rest of the league has been much of a muchness. And now we're getting to such a high level where you've got 4 clubs pushing for that top spot. So to break into that, I think we might need another year of further development to like properly break in, but we are definitely knocking on that door. And if Carla can get us 5th again or 4th, then I'll take that as a massive success. But to be pretty honest, if we can not have as many injuries as last season, I'd also take that as a win, because we were so light last season, especially around Christmas with players. It was just ridiculous. So I just want us to do well and stay fit and healthy, and hopefully not have too many internationals that put our players at risk of getting injured.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be interesting to see what happens with Aston Villa this season, because as I said, I still think it'll be another 5th, but again, I don't feel like that's a bad season either for Villa. I think if Villa can sustain 5th and keep that going, have a good run in the cups, obviously maybe get to a final, whether that's the Conference Cup or the FA Cup, and obviously that's a big thing as well. I think that will be a success for me. Well, obviously I'm not a Villa fan, but obviously I would like to see somebody different. I've said all along, I said if United don't win the league, I just want it to be someone other than Chelsea, because I just don't want them winning it. I like to see someone a little bit different winning these things. But Barry, I guess the same kind of question for you. Obviously, we did cover this a little bit on Monday in terms of expectations for the season and all those kind of things. But I guess obviously in this game in particular, do you think there's more pressure on us just purely based off the signings we've made and the money we've spent, or do you feel like there's the same pressure that we had last season?
I think pressure's pressure, really, because it's depends who it's applied by, doesn't it? I don't think the pressure is necessarily going to be applied by the club. I think the club should be thankful that there's people like Marc Skinner and Charlotte Healy and, oh, hello.
What?
How? Honestly, like, people don't get enough of your face. Like, oh, let's just make me bigger. Crikey. The ego of this man is unreal. This is what I have to deal with, folks. Like, unreal. I'm joking. I think, yeah, we should be thankful for the likes of Skinner and Healy and all of the people behind the scenes that do the work they do for United. So I think the pressure, if it comes from anyone, is going to come from outside. It will come from the fan base. And in that respect, we have a very interesting, eclectic group. There'll be people that don't like Skinner who won't give him very much time. So there'll be a lot of pressure coming from those people. Let's not forget, ridiculously, there are actually signs being held up by probably about 2 or 3 people who actually thought Marc Skinner should leave the club, which was just ridiculous. If you can get the highest points total of any manager for Manchester United women and you get a sign held up saying Skinner out, then I think that should be grounds to forcibly remove people from the ground, because clearly they haven't got a clue what they're watching. That's crazy. How can you be in that sort of situation? So is there more pressure? No. Is there more expectation? Yes. Because now that we've got top 3, you're not going to want to let go of top 3. It's like anything. It's like a child. When the child takes a toy from the other person, they don't want to let it go. They don't care about sharing. You can talk about that as much as you like. We must share. No, I've got it. Why have I got to give it to them? It's mine. Expectation is it's in my hands. I get to keep it. When I'm finished with it, they can have it. I'm going to wait until they've got something else. I'm going to grab that off of them and then they can have this. That's how a child will work. We're not in that situation. Our expectation is that we've got it. We are top 3 now. So that's what we're going to want to keep. The interesting thing will be, and I was really telling what Lindsay actually said about, the rest of the league being much for muchness. Everton finished 6th with 30 points, which was 17 points behind the teams that finished 3rd and 4th, with Arsenal and City being on the same amount. And that's quite a lot, obviously. The next ones that were in 7th got 23 points, which is literally half, less than half. So as a result, you are in a situation where the league itself is getting stronger. Villa were 10 points off. I do believe that they are going to cut that gap. And for me, the ones that need to look out here are Man City, because I don't feel like they particularly have grown and bettered their squad than they have done over the last couple of seasons. I think they're still almost running on fumes to a degree. So I think 4th is a very good place for them. I realise I'm not really answering the question that you asked me, which is the expectations of United. And the expectations for me, we've got to get Champions League again. So yeah, top 3, I would love it. But you know me, if we finish 4th, I'm not going to be sitting there going, oh, sack Skinner. It's just, you've got to go again. You've got to do something different. And it's that understanding. And this is what I hated about just Man United in general at times, is sometimes we just feel like just because we're Man United, that's where we should be and that's what we deserve. And there's a difference between aspiration and expectation and reality. And aspiration is what you aspire to be first. Expectation, top 3, because that's what we'd like, and we've proven we can do that now. But reality is, if we get 3 other clubs that perform better than us next season, then we don't deserve it. And that's not the case of sitting there and getting angry at a manager. You've got to accept the fact there's 11 other teams that are trying to do what we're trying to do. Might be an idea for us to pull our head out of the sand just for a minute and actually look around and go, well, maybe we just didn't do as well as we thought we could have done. So, I'm easy going with this sort of thing, Connor, but for that reason, I still think we're going to finish 2nd, so it's not a problem.
Yeah, you make a fair point, I think.
I try to.
We had a good chat about this, obviously, on yesterday's show about Man City, because a lot of the panel obviously were saying about Man City and that a lot of people are writing them off wrongly, but I don't know. I think City have still got a really strong squad, but it really depends how quick. It really depends on which team can gel properly. Arsenal signed about 1 million forwards in the summer. It depends how they can gel and whether they can stay injury free and so on. Obviously, even with United, we've got a couple of new players and lost our best player from last season in Honor, but we've recruited well. So it really does depend who can keep that stability. United were very good, and obviously there's a little bit of luck, I guess, involved with injuries, but we were very good at keeping that stable starting squad and subs throughout the whole season, which obviously kept that momentum going. So hopefully we can see a little bit of more of that this season. Before we kind of, I guess, look towards predictions of lineups and scores and all those kind of things, obviously another big talking point, obviously this game is at Villa Park, obviously on Sunday, rather than being at the Bescott. I know Villa have played a couple of games at Villa Park already. I guess the question is who you think this favours, because we've seen at we've seen at home, obviously for United, when the games are on bigger pitches, it seems to favour us. When we've played at Old Trafford and these kind of bigger pitches, it has favoured us in that respect. How are you feeling, Freya? I guess the game obviously is at Villa Park. It's looking like it's going to be a good crowd. Obviously, from a United point of view, we've got a packed out away end, just over 3,000 on that one. Do you think this favours United a little bit being at Villa Park, or do you think that it doesn't really make too much difference? But just your thoughts on it being moved there for the opening fixture, really.
I think starting the league off like that is like starting off with a bang and being like, right, we're here. We're ready to challenge. We're ready to go. And I think whenever it's at Villa Park, it's such an occasion. And obviously we do get more fans in. So obviously there's more seats. But the fact that there's, €3,000 away end as well, that's phenomenal that many fans are traveling. And I just think the atmosphere is going to be so incredible that it might make the nerves kick in a little bit because it is such a big crowd. But I think it's just going to push them on to be like, right, okay, we've got all these people here. Let's show them what we're going to do, and let's show them what Villa actually looks like this season. So yeah, we're really excited. I think it's not going to help either team more than the other. I think all players are going to really rise to the occasion, and that's why it's going to be such an exciting match.
I think Sporty might have just answered my question. I was going to ask, have you played, proper naivety here, but have you played at Villa Park before? That's happened?
It was against City, wasn't it?
Well, according to Sporty, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was. That was the game, because Hansen had a really, really good game in that one. I remember watching. It was on Sky Sports, I believe. This is really testing my memory. I can't remember what happened.
It was first game of the season, September last year, because I went and I remember going. I went with my dad, and he got all excited because he was on the TV. And yeah, she had a good game. But yeah, we have won at Villa Park before.
Good.
Yeah, that was it. It was the 4-3, wasn't it? Yeah, it was a hell of a game. But I guess, Lindsay, same question to yourself in terms of your thoughts on the game being at Villa Park, and just, I guess, obviously, everyone talks about that, home advantage and all these kind of things. So obviously, it's not going to be a full sold out Villa Park as obviously we're used to seeing with the men's side. So I guess your thoughts on it really in terms of moving over there.
Well, I've been to the men's matches, and I know that a packed Villa Park has an absolute special touch to it. So I think the girls coming out to play and seeing how many people are out there to support them and cheer them on off the back of the Euros and the increase in uptake, I think it's really going to spur them on. It's going to encourage them. But I know that the Villa players themselves prefer to play at Bescott because it's a more intimate venue and they can be closer to the fans. They don't feel like they're far away. But I think if I put myself in the players' shoes and I had the opportunity to play at Villa Park, even if it was just one man and his dog watching, I'd still be really chuffed that I got to say, when I retired, I played at Villa Park. It's a bit of a dream. It's a bit like, there are with other teams. Like I guess for your players playing at Old Trafford, it's the same. Whereas when they play at Leeds Sports Village, it's like, oh, well, this is where we go to play normally. Whereas there's a sense of occasion when you play at Old Trafford. But the players, because the fans are a lot closer and they can hear them and they can see their faces, it's almost like that's a better setup for them to spur them on. So it doesn't really answer your question, but for the fans, Villa Park is always a tremendous occasion. They always put a big show on, but I think for the players, they would prefer home advantage at Poundland. Poundland Bescott.
Awful name for stadium.
What a moment. That's awesome. I was just going to ask though, like, how many people do you get roughly as an average to the Villa games when it is at the Poundland or the Bescott or whatever you want to call it?
It's about 3 or 4, Freya? 3,000 or 4,000.
Yeah, 3 or 4 people. Yeah. Couple of thousand again. Yeah, it's a man and his dog again. Is back. I don't think we've had an updated average, to be honest, but I think it was definitely more than 2. So yeah, between 2 and 3 average thousand.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? We obviously had that. that was our sort of average the season before, and it's moved up a little bit because obviously more people were coming along to the United games. But it's quite interesting because the Bescot obviously is not in Aston Villa. That's not a place, but it's not where your home ground is. And equally, LSB isn't where our home ground is. And it's interesting, I think, the travelling, the distance really does seem to put people off, because it shows when you put the game on at Villa Park, there's going to be way more than 2,000 or 3,000 people there. I mean, we're taking 2,000 or 3,000 people just from United. So you put it on at Villa Park, all of a sudden everybody turns up. You put it on at Old Trafford, we still get more people at Old Trafford than we do at LSB. The problem is that it's still not enough to fill the ground. So because it doesn't fill the ground at that moment, the atmosphere sort of dries up a bit. And that's where what Lindsay's talking about, seeing the faces and doing all of that, really makes a massive difference, because you're then weighing up the economics of the situation, more money in the game, with the fact that actually people want to come along and enjoy a sense of occasion and not just be surrounded by a bloody band and things like that. So take that notice, Polly. Don't do it again. People don't like it. So I think it's really important that that discussion is had more, because it really is a bit of a tricky one. I think that there's more teams that need to be closer to home in order for that ability. I mean, we find it even here at Stevenage. You know, we'll get more people if we put the game on at Stevenage than if we do 10 minutes up the road at Letchworth, because it's still a drive, whereas people can just walk to it or get on the bus, and it's much easier for them to do. So I think there is more to be said about where games are played. And yeah, I don't know. I don't quite know what the answer is, but for me personally, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I've just done a little check. Average home attendance was 4,204 last season. Yeah.
Be good.
But yeah, Bescot we are quite lucky in the sense it is quite near a train station, and so people can kind of easily get there. But yeah, it's in Walsall, so it is out the way. So if we can we'd love to get somewhere closer and more central, because if we don't drive, like I travel quite a way to get there, Lindsay travels quite a way to get there. So yeah, if the transport links were easier, we'd see that all around the country, wouldn't we? Just more people would be able to go.
See, weirdly for me, the Bescot's actually easier to get to than Villa Park. It's closer. It's more south.
I'm constantly telling you, Connor, it's not all about you.
It's easier to get to for me. And Villa are charging I say a fortune. Like, I'm pretty sure the parking for Villa has cost me the same as the ticket, which is like, and they're very adamant as well, because I asked them about this, that you've got to leave like within the hour after full time. And it's like, really? Because I asked them how strict they are on that, and they said very. I was like, but like how strict? But how very are you? So I don't know. I'll take my chances. Andrew's in the comments, coming with me. Well, driving with me on something, so I hope we can get out of the car. Gonna lock us in or something. So Barry, I guess for yourself, just obviously from a United point of view, as I mentioned earlier, obviously sold out away, which is becoming a regular thing. Obviously, we tweeted a lot. You know, I said, I think I tweeted from the AFU account the other day that this is just a regular thing now for United. Obviously, we've sold out the Everton away section as well, but that's 150 people that they've given us. So I'm not going to claim that as a big victory because that's not a lot compared to the 3,000 we're going to see at Villa. But I guess the kind of question is obviously how good that is, but also do you think this is going to be the norm for us this season? Because, you know, Liverpool at the back end of the season, that was about 2,500, 3,000. Obviously, we saw it at the Emirates. We've seen it at other grounds as well. United are packing out away ends, no matter what the game or where it is.
I think the away ends question is, something we've been banging a drum about for a really long time. It's really important that we have away ends and that football is treated as football. It was lovely in its own way. It never stops it. People still have the opportunity to buy a ticket anywhere in the stadium. That's not a problem. I'm not saying that the culture of the women's game needs to change in that respect, but there are people that just want to sit together with their own fans and create an atmosphere and enjoy the tribal aspect of football. And I think those people should be given that opportunity rather than being forced to try and find an area of the stadium where they can stand together and, not be infringing people's views. I mean, I'll never forget going to Reading and you stand there. You've got 30, 40 of you all stood up and people will just go and sit directly behind you. It's obvious what you're doing. Nobody has sat down for the last 35 minutes and you're sat there, often with a picnic, going, well, this is my seat. And it's like, but why? Why is it your seat? Why do you want to be sat behind us? And you hit a point where you have to move because, well, this is my ticket. I paid for this particular seat. Well, that's bloody wonderful. But still, why do you want to be sat here? Why would you want to be anywhere near us? We're loud. We're obnoxious. Why do you want to be near us? That's outrageous. So this removes that situation. It removes us from being in a position where we don't have to do that. Also, what Sporty just said, really important. I don't want an Aston Villa scarf at Christmas, so please don't email me with it. The fact that you can just get your tickets from the club you support is what everybody wants, because we don't want it. We don't need it. So I think that's your first thing. I think with regards to, for us being normal in that respect, absolutely. We're also getting used to playing in the bigger stadiums, which again is really important. I think the game is really growing, and this is what I love to see about it. You know, women's football just as a whole is growing. I thought even with the WSL advert that Sky Sports did, you could tell there's a different sort of way in which that's going. It's becoming more, probably the wrong choice of words here, but it's becoming more natural, more normal, more visible to people. And I just think that's amazing. I can't tell when he's being serious or not. But I am pleased that now I can see that's actually Piers Morgan, because when it's small on my computer, it looks like Jamie Carragher, and I wasn't sure which person it was. So I'm very pleased it was actually Piers. If it is actually Piers, my nephew knows your son. So yeah, there you go. But yeah, so I think it is important that we do that. And I think we will take big numbers. But I also wonder if part of the problem that we have will be, is it linked to how we're doing? We had lots of the Lionesses winning the Euros. So as a result of that, they all came to watch us this last season. This season, if we're not necessarily fighting for second and going to the FA Cup final and doing all of that, will people still come and watch us? And I think that's really the test. Have we built a fan base that's now with us and is a Manchester United women's fan base? Or do we have people that want to be with us when the times are good, but when the times are not so good, maybe not? And I think that'll be the interesting part to see. And I'm all here for it. I'm looking forward to it.
That last point, I think we're going to speak about this over the season. I know we are, because when if Earps leaves in January or next summer, I didn't say that. If she decides to leave or continues that desire to want to leave, I feel like it'll be interesting to see how many fans still do stick around. Because obviously we saw record attendance last season, but I don't think it's any hidden fact that a lot of them are there from the Lionesses, you know, and that's fine, each their own. But I do feel like if obviously Earps goes, and if the results aren't as good as last season, as you just said there, will we see such a high attendance as we did last year? So I hope so, because you know it's the atmosphere at Liverpool away last season, the last game of the season, was one of the best atmospheres I've been in at any ground. You know, with us all there under the roof as well. And Tranmere is such an old-fashioned ground. If anyone who's been to Tranmere, it's one of the oldest grounds. But it's yeah, no, Paul, do not, please, nobody quote that and tweet that as I didn't say that. But yeah, so I don't know. It's we'll see how the season goes on that front. Right, I'll just come to, before we kind of do score predictions and look to round this one off. From a lineup point of view, obviously we mentioned a couple of players that may be out. Freya, I'll start with yourself from a Villa point of view. Who are you expecting to start? Obviously, we imagine Van Domselaar in goal and a pretty settled, I guess, midfield back four. But I guess up front, who are you kind of expecting? I guess the reason I asked this question, obviously from a rotation point of view, Leon has obviously been away with Canada not long, I imagine, would have got back. So I can't imagine she's going to be starting. I don't know. You might know more than me. But what are you feeling from a lineup point of view, and who you think is going to be a certainty to start? You don't have to run through the whole 11, just who you feel like is going to be certainty to start.
I do have less. No, it's interesting looking at it, because we've got, for our forwards, like, we're finally spoilt for choice. So I think probably we're going to have Rich Daly, Kirsty Hansen, Alicia Lehrman start. But I think rotation-wise, I think, Lindsay, we were saying, weren't we, it'd be really good to maybe get some minutes, get them settled, kind of see how the game goes, and then maybe get Simone McGill on 60, 70 minutes, maybe give Ebony Salmon a run out. But it'd be nice to see, I don't know, Lindsay, what do you think? We've got too many to choose, that's the thing.
I think although Rach Daly is really tired, and it shows, she hasn't said she's tired, but you can just see that she's she just plays so many minutes. I don't know how she's still going, but because this is quite a big game, I think that this will be one of the ones that they'll start her and then Carla might take her off. And then if Hansen is recovered and okay to go, I think she'll be a starter as well. And then it'll be between Raymond and McGill as to who else starts. But then I think sort of 60 minutes is going to be rotation. And like Freya said, Ebony Salmon come on for some minutes. Leon come on for some minutes. McGill or Lehman, whoever wasn't on, comes on for some minutes just to mix it up and then freshen it up in midfield, because you are so strong in midfield. I think you're going to really put us through our paces. So we're going to need that extra bit of fresh legs. But yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting start. But we're so spoilt for choice, like Freya said. It's the first time where we can actually go, who will Carla start, rather than thinking, have we got 3 people that can actually play that position? Like, it's quite a nice problem to have, actually.
I think whoever starts in that front line, it's a good, as we said, obviously we know that Daly, honestly, as we said in the away fixture at the back end of last season, certainly caused us some problems with our settled back line that we had then. Obviously, from a United point of view, obviously Sporty's gone with an expected starting 11, obviously with Earps, George, it's bugging me that they're the other way around. Blundell on the right, I imagine, and George on the left. And then, obviously, Zalamlad, Galton, Tooney, Garcia, JC. Are you expecting that, Barry, in terms of a lineup from United? Obviously, Jade is in contention, but I highly doubt that Marc's going to throw her in after the injury. I imagine it's probably going to be the case, maybe Arsenal, PSG, potentially, that we see her kind of injury, or maybe even later, depending on how bad her injury was. But is that the kind of lineup you're expecting and wanting, really?
Well, it's interesting. There's aspiration, there's expectation, and there's reality. We won't go through the aspiration point because they're players we don't have. So then you've got your expectation and reality. For me, expectation here is probably not a million miles off. That's probably likely to be the team that's being put out, if I'm honest. I'm still a little bit annoyed and angry with Mary Earps. So I'm still putting PTJ in goal. I feel like, she needs to go on the naughty step, which is really frustrating me, because somebody asked me the other day, who's your favourite player from Man United? And I'm like, well, it's Mary Earps, but I'm annoyed. And I am. And it's frustrating. So it's a bit of a love-hate relationship going on there at the minute. So if she starts, I'll just be like, okay, but she'd best save the stuff, or I'll be very angry. I've gone Hannah Blundell right back, Gabby George left back, based on your superb insights and knowledge on Monday of the fact that Hannah Blundell has played right back before. So I'm going to trust you on that one and put her there. If it goes wrong, it's your fault. But yeah, Laetitia. So I nearly said Martha Thomas there, and that's definitely not the MT that I meant. Millie Turner, Katie Zedham, Hayley Ladd, Ella Toon. For me, though, it's the front line. That's the bit that's tricky there. He's gone Galton, Garcia and Jay-Z. He's gone 3G, as Lanzell put it. I'm still unconvinced that could be how it goes. I want to see Mallard play, so I'd still stick her out as my person on the right with Leah Galton. Yeah, but Jay-Z's got to start. She's done 2. What has Mary done to upset Barry? Well, she's, number one, she ain't signed a contract. Would be the first answer there, Jennifer Jordan. And the second thing she hasn't done is look like she wants to be here. Maybe we'll see that at the weekend. She'll come in on Sunday and I can watch her again and go, there's my Mary, the one that I enjoy watching. But if not, then yeah, PTJ for the win.
Yeah, I agree with Barry. I think I would, if it wasn't such a tough first few games, albeit I get you've got to get these players in, I would be starting Fallon anyway, because I feel like she's going to be the keeper past Mary. So we've got to be prepared for that when it happens, not just go, oh, Mary's left, there you go, starting goal.
If. You're going to set people off again.
Yeah, if Mary goes. So, yeah, and I agree. I think, and I agree with Highland. I think the point of contention, it's on the right-hand side. It's the same as last season. It's the right-hand side, and it's who partner sell them, I think.
I got Miyazawa. How did I forget her? She's bloody brilliant. I wanted her instead of Toon. Can I change Toon for Miyazawa? That's what I'd like to see, because I do. So I can't wait to watch her play.
I'm really excited for that. Just to see whoever doesn't play, I'm excited for them to come off the bench. As you said, Miyazawa, Guerrero's fantastic. If Mallard doesn't start, I mean, what a player to have off the bench. That's a ridiculous player to even had on your. I don't think she'll start. I don't think she's fully ready yet to start. But I think we'll see her at some point. But that's what I mean. What an option to have. It's regardless of whether we're drawing, losing, or winning at that point. You've got an unreal forward there. So I think whoever and if Paris doesn't start, she can come on. She had a good back end for the season as well. If Garcia doesn't start, we saw what she did from the sub bench last season, 8 goals or whatever it was that she ended up on in the end. So we've got players that can finish off the game as well. So I'm really excited. I think whatever team he puts out, we can look at the bench and go, oh my word, look at the bench as well, which we maybe didn't have for parts of last season as well.
It was 8 goals, I remembered. I've written down all the players who scored last season, how many they scored, and it was 8. So
here we go. My memory's not going too bad just yet. And I agree with Sport. Potentially, I think if we have good results, well, no, I don't know. I don't think it really depends on results. I hope. I was hoping, John, you'd forgot about that. I've not managed to have my haircut this week either, so it is literally looks like it's 2 foot. Oh dear.
Connor Squiff is 2 feet tall. Doodah, doodah. Connor Squiff is 2 feet tall.
I'm so dry. I'm just not. I wear my sunglasses anyway every game, whether it's raining. Like it could be raining, I have my glasses on, so you won't even know it's me. Or you might do because you see my hair coming.
I was just going to say they will know it's you. We're like, hang on, what's Jedward doing here? And then you take your glasses off, and you're like, hang on, it's Eugene from The Walking Dead. Got to start getting these back in because they're going to be used during the year.
Oh God! Did you see Alex's Twitter? Well, you did, didn't you? So obviously, Alex, for people who don't know, obviously is on the channel last year. She is back from America in about a couple of weeks' time. I think she gets back after Arsenal, and so she'll be back on the channel. So you can imagine her and Barry are going to have a lot of fun with the lookalikes because they spent a lot of time on this last season. Which,
to be fair, though, it's not just you we do it for. We did say the other day, didn't we, that if I wore a blue suit, I'd look like Penfold from Danger Mouse. So, we do it both ways. I'm not bullying him, honestly. I promise. It does come back at me. It's just he's too nice. He doesn't say it on here. He should.
Because I'm not quick enough to think of any while we're on here. I'm gonna have to go away and have a think over the weekend.
I do. I've got a list of Connor insults that I want to throw out. Just like, that'll be a good one. Go to that. Sometimes we'll roll a dice. 8. We'll go for that one.
Freya, you said for your kind of score prediction, what are you saying for Sunday?
I think it might be a 2-2. I think we've got enough up front to get the goals in. Also think our defence is decent, but we've also got some new defenders in, so it's how strong our back line is going to be. And I think, again, up front, you guys have got the quality to maybe get 2 past us. However, Van Domselaar, I don't know, Lindsay, what do you think? I think 2-2 would be a good tight match.
Yeah, I was thinking whilst Connor was talking and sorting his hair out, I was just there thinking, what is it going to be? Sorry, Barry.
I'm unmuted. I didn't realise I was snorting. Sorry.
So, yeah, I think it'll be 2-2 because the attacking prowess that United have got is just, if it clicks, it'll be unstoppable. And I think a 2-2 from a hard-fought draw will be credit and fair to both teams. I'd like Villa to win, obviously, 5-0. But I don't think that's going to happen. Like we said, it's about what you'd like and what's real, and what's real is most likely to be a 2-2 draw. So I'm going with Freya.
Barry, what are you going for? There's a couple of people agreeing. United fans saying it could be 2-2, 2-1. There's a couple of shouts in there. There's a 5-0. I don't think we're scoring 5 past Van Domselaar, I gotta be honest.
I love Dave's optimism. I really do.
Potentially. What do you reckon, Barry? What score are you going for?
Well, I think first of all, I do just want to point this out because it was something that I wrote down actually. Which is there's a couple of things going on with Villa at the moment. Obviously, the shirt is one thing, and that's a bit disgraceful, really, that it's doing what it is doing. So I feel like you say that as a gag, but actually, it's not the sort of thing that just for the men's team as well. It's not the sort of thing that really should be being produced by any decent kit manufacturer. I also noticed you're changing your crest again. That's what I was told. You decided, and this was the bit that got me. The round badge didn't have the impact they were hoping for. I'm like, what the hell were you expecting from that? I've changed my badge from slightly shield-like to circular. What were they expecting? Everybody saying that we've got round badges at Villa. It's so much better than before. What the hell were they wanting? It makes no sense.
But now they're also using the lion without anything as well. It's just by itself, so it doesn't got. So yeah, I'm quite annoyed because I've got, that's the old one now.
Badge, that.
Marketing, that's what it is.
Unbelievable. But yeah, they're 150 next year, so they want to get it done for that. So they're going to have a competition so the kids can colour things in and send it in. And hopefully that will have the impact thereafter, but we'll see. In answer to your question, Connor, I think this, and I will have to say as well, tell this to Blu-ray. Like, Blu-ray's way better than DVD. Honestly, what's up with you people? I guess I know what it meant. We're going to win 3-1.
I see. I actually know what DVDs are, Barry.
I know.
With
Great.
My lack of film knowledge, I do know what they are.
I'm just glad we didn't talk about VHS. We should get you a DVD player so you can actually put some DVDs in and watch stuff. You've watched The Lion King, right, Freya?
I have, yep.
Lindsay, you seen The Lion King?
Yes, I did when I was little, yeah.
Right. No, Connor, not a clue. No.
No, my wife wasn't. She hates anything.
There we go. Correct answer.
I won't do it now because I realised you can't replicate someone else's nostalgia. So when we are watching things like, look how good it is, it's probably not. It's just our memories and our magic and of childhood coming back. And you can't replicate someone else.
What a story it is.
Yeah, but Connor looks like he's more a Cinderella fan, so with his hair and everything.
Charming.
I've never seen that either. I remember roughly what the story is, but I've never seen that either.
Whoa. Oh my God. I know roughly what the story is for Cinderella. Roughly.
It's something about a ball in it or something. She gets to go to some dance or something.
How have you bypassed all of your childhood? What is this?
It's the hair. It's stopping his brain cells.
I know. Every time I think you can't get the bar any lower, you just go, no, I'll say there's levels here. Roughly the story of Cinderella.
You've seen some Disney films though, right?
I'm trying to think of a film now off the top of my head.
Snow White?
No.
Sword in the Stone?
No.
Sleeping Beauty?
I've never even heard of that one. No.
Right, get yourself on Disney Plus.
I've got it. I purely bought it for Hamilton the Musical, you see. But that's about it.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm with you with that.
So you watch Hamilton the Musical. That's unreal.
Hey, no, that is brilliant, by the way.
It is brilliant.
TJ's been talking in emojis again. And so to me, this just reads face, pink tears, face, pink tears, face, pink tears. And I wonder who's crying pink tears. That's a bit of a worry. You need to go to the doctors, mate. That's not normal.
I was going to say, John is literally on the doorstep of Disney in Orlando, isn't he? I'm in Florida. Yeah, Orlando, yeah. I'm not making a good of account of myself here. But no, I've never seen that either. Alina and Mia are to me for that as well.
If you were a Disney character, I'd make you Gaston in terms of look.
Isn't that is that the
thing?
Beauty and the Beast, he got it. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is. See, I know that.
No.
But I've never seen the film.
Gaston.
Oh, I told you, it's easier for you to make a list of films that, I have seen and haven't. Because, the haven't seen is going to be a lot longer than the has. Oh, how did we get to that anyway? Oh, you were talking about DVDs, that was it. And Connor's making me feel old. What?
He does this to me all the time.
I'm not that young. Or I don't feel like anyway.
It's the fact you've never heard of it. That's the thing that gets us. It's not that you've just not seen it. It's like, no, not a clue. What is that even about? No.
I'm gonna have to try and find this film I've actually seen now because I can't think of one off the top of my
The
head.
Incredibles.
Oh yes, I've seen that.
That's sort of Disney Pixar. That's
Pixar, okay.
ish. It's there.
I've just googled
What's
Disney
missing?
to see what comes up.
Pixar.
That's more Pixar, though, isn't it? So I've seen like that era, like the, like animated films. You're talking like Monsters Inc., Toy Story, and all those. I've seen those, but it's not like Disney, is it?
Just not the classics.
Just not the proper films that inspired it all.
I'll send you a
You
list
know
on
which
it.
ones is, right?
Oh, trust me, Freya. I said this to the guys the other on here last season, I think. So my first ever job. This is going really off topic, by the way. I appreciate everyone still watching this. But in my first ever job, they actually had on next to the sales board, they had a board, and it literally said films that Connor hasn't seen, and a full list of this massive board in this sales office of films I needed to watch. And there was all these like classics on there, like Pulp Fiction and Titanic, and all these like films that are obviously
You haven't
massive
seen
names.
Titanic?
No.
Why would you not
Films
watch
I've
that?
just never seen.
Wow.
I reference Titanic. We're reading a book at the moment in the school that I work at called The Wisp, and it's quite good. And there is literally a bloke on a boat going like this, and I went, "Oh, look, he's doing his very best Titanic." And I forgot the fact really that these children were all born in like 2015, 2016. To them, they're like, "Don't know what you're on about," but the teachers, oh, they're laughing. They like that, and that's how you make me feel, Connor. Like I'm back at school, talking to these kids who are just like, don't know what you're talking about, Mr. Russ, but there you go. Mental.
No, indeed. And potentially highlight over the Christmas time when we have more of our light high shows. Maybe we'll do like a full section on this and you can really see how George I am
This is a good
to film.
question.
Oh,
What is this?
now you are putting me on the spot. Oh, crikey.
I mean, it's not really on the spot. There's only about 4 to choose from.
I've seen a film recently that I thought was really good. Oh, the Elvis movie, obviously. That's got to be up there. That's one of my favourite films. No, I think Saving Private Ryan's a good one. That's obviously an original. Was that before my time? I think it came out before I was born.
Saving Private Ryan, the Elvis film. Oh, I really liked the Elvis film.
Yeah, I think those two are probably up there. But I genuinely can't think of any more that I've seen that I've gone like, yeah, that's my favourite. Because there just isn't. Never seen that either, just putting that out there. But yeah,
God.
I couldn't even tell you what that's about. Like,
Well, that means you haven't seen Grease 2, and that really offends me. Because Grease 2 is the most underrated sequel in the world.
I just know some of the songs because obviously back in my DJing days, used to have the mega mix and all that kind of stuff ready for parties and all that. So I know that, but I couldn't tell you a single thing that happens. I wouldn't be very good on like Mastermind or like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire or something like that, would I? Phil questions came up. No, I've never even heard of that second one. Sixth
Sense.
I see dead people.
I've heard of Shawshank. I've never seen it.
Oh. Yeah, this needs to be an extra thing where we just
we'll get another show
of films. Yeah.
show for this. I can't remember what the original. Oh, it was score prediction one. Yeah, I'm just going to go 2-1 because I think Villa will probably score, but I feel like we've got more fire. No, 3-1. I go for because I feel like we've got more firepower to get over the line. Albeit, it really depends how Van Dam settles in and if she's fully fired. Obviously, fully on form is going to be a lot tougher. What's this? At least you do watch football and support the correct. Oh, there we go. I read that completely different. Do you know what I could? Because every reaction would be a genuine first reaction to the film because I've not seen them. So it would be quite good to watch, I feel like. But I'm not really into films though, so I probably wouldn't give a good reaction. It's why I don't watch. So I don't know. Right, we'll wrap it up there because we'll be going all night talking about films and all kinds of things otherwise. Freya, obviously, if there's anything you want to shout out, or Lindsay as well for yourself, see, I'm pretty sure you want to shout out what Lindsay's little photo is there, the whole 115.
Yes.
That was good little marketing.
Lindsay's wrapping our logos. Thank you very much for that, Lindsay. So we are the 115 yards. We talk about women's football all day, every day. We are primarily Aston Villa focused, but we do talk about all of the major leagues across Europe as well. So we are just starting to grow. We've got a podcast that's just started. We did it over the World Cup to kind of see see how we did. And we've had some really good feedback. So thank you very much for everyone who has tuned into that. And we are coming back with our WSL coverage starting. I don't know, Lindsay, when do you want to start? This week? Next week?
We can do it after the game at the weekend, can't we? I think we'll
be together. Yeah,
we'll be together for once rather than being opposite ends of the country.
So we just want to spread kind of all of the good news about women's football, and just really share our passion with everyone. Yeah, Lindsay, anything I've forgot?
Also, we write for Villa News.
We do a blog as well,
and F Media. Freya does a lot of it because Freya's just fantastic at writing, and she volunteers for it. So she's the absolute wizard with the words. I'm banned because I put rude words in there. So if you ever contact us and you get a rude response, it'll be from me. If you get a lovely response, it'll be from Freya. Not because I'm horrible, I'm just autistic, and that's the way that I work, unfortunately. So that's why Freya is in charge of everything. But yeah, please tune into our podcast. My voice will be back for the podcast at the weekend unless I lose it shouting at the game. And yeah, we'd love to have you follow us. Joining
our little community. Yeah. And you can find us across all social media platforms as well.
Make sure you do that. And also, I don't know whether you purposely missed it or forgot, because obviously we've also got one as well. Make sure you join their fantasy football league for the WSL as well, because obviously we've got one at All for United WFC. You'll find it literally sends the code All for United WFC to sign up to that. But what's your code to join your league as well?
So our code is I'm literally on the page for it. Hang on. Where is it?
I think I know it.
So it's W115Y, so whole 115 yards. W115Y. We set ourselves a target of getting 115 people in the league for the 115 yards. And as of right now, we've got, so thank you again to everyone who's joined. We've got 127 people in the league. So
you're disappointed now, is that ruined? Yeah.
We got to our benchmark, so I'm happy. We're good.
It is really, really good. At Play Fancy WSL is their Twitter page. They are fantastic, and I think they've absolutely smashed it with this. There's an app coming soon as well, by the way, for this as well. And it's really, I said this on the previous show, it's really good to have I know there's been previous WSL fancy footballs. This is, for me, the first proper, real good fancy football page, and now coming app as well that we've got. So.
And just to add to that really quickly, we're actually going to be working with Fantasy WSL to include a segment in our podcast. So they're going to send us all their reports, their stats, everything like that, and we're gonna add that in. So yeah, if that interests anyone, again, please do join in.
No, for sure. I don't know what I'm allowed to say this, but we will also be doing something potentially with them in the near future as well. So just keep your eyes peeled for that.
Honestly, he's taking a truth serum today, isn't he? He's just like, leaking everything.
So obviously you can join our league as well at All for United. It literally is All for United WFC. No, it's not. It's All for United to join the league. Obviously, if you want to join ours as well, I don't know how many people's in there. There was over 100 last time I checked. I can't remember how many it's now. But it's a bit of fun. Obviously, Predictions League, we've shut the entrance to that now. But obviously, if you are entered into it, just send your scores across to me or Barry or the AFU account by kickoff on Sunday. Obviously, it's been the pin message for the tweet. Obviously, I mentioned this throughout the show. Obviously, we have been nominated for the FCA's finalists in the Best Women's Football Creators category, which obviously it blows my mind every time I say it, to be honest. But obviously, if you would like to vote for us, the voting links are in the description. It'll be in the pinned comment after this video goes out as well. Just the easiest way I can probably say to do it: tag our account on Instagram on the Instagram post. It literally takes 5 seconds. That's how you do it on that one. It's greatly appreciated. So we'll see how we go on that one. Obviously, we'll be back on Monday. I'll be live from Wembley, funnily enough. Doing that match reaction there. Obviously, Barry will be back, Charlie and Jess will be back on the channel on Monday to hopefully talk through a United win, but we'll see on that one. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, and follow the Twitter account at All for United WFC, and we shall see you guys on Monday.